say Tom Clements, I meant John Hufnagel. And there's another injured Winnipeg player.
Boy, it's getting tough out there. There's some bodies thrown around.
It appears to be Dan Hucklack.
I know there's some people down in the States enjoying this game, too. My son Steve couldn't wait to see these games on the weekend, and he's really seeing something down there. My son Terry is also right by the television set, and even my daughter Christy. Did I say hello to anybody else?
Jim, did you get them all, eh?
Boy, you've certainly saved the price with 2 phone calls, haven't you? John Keogh has gone into the ball game as you see John Hufnagel coming over to confer with Coach Cal Murphy, and the injured Tom Clements listens in as he eavesdrops on that conversation.
Don, we talked about the Grey Cup next Sunday here at BC Place. The 1983 CFL All-Star game is the week after, and the CFL All-Stars will begin arriving in Vancouver in preparation for the All-Star game on December 3rd, the day after the Grey Cup. So there's lots of football ahead for football fans in Vancouver.
Don, you might cut the wire on my what do you call this thing here?
Microphone.
But let me tell you something. I better say hello to Betty Lynn, my little girl, too.
Listen to this crowd. Rick House fumbles the ball. Jim Sykes picks it up and goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Winnipeg very, very fortunate there.
Well, this is really getting wild out here now, Rod.
This is a variation of that flanker hit screen, only this time they motion Rick House out and they throw it to him. You'll see the blockers try to get in front of him, but the BC defender gets there first. That ball pops up, and now it's open. That's Andre Jones that arrived, and they're very fortunate to get this back. Jim Sykes makes a good play.
That's what you call putting your helmet on the ball. Andre Jones stuck his helmet right on the football.
Bob Cameron stands at his 16-yard line. Good kick.
Oh, what a nice kick.
Crawford takes it up to 28. And he's taken out of bounds by Jerome Erdman at the 30. 7:16 is the time remaining in the third quarter, and the Lions will be scrimmaging from their own 30 when we return. For Winnipeg quarterback John Hufnagel, when he calls his signals, he might think there are twice as many in attendance here at the stadium at BC Place. 59,409, the official paid attendance for this Western final. DeWalt caught away from Aaron Brown, and then runs into Tony Norman after a pickup of about 2.
I'll tell you the thing I've been impressed with Winnipeg this afternoon. On several occasions, one defender harnessed a running back in the open field, and that time they had 2 guys that closed in on him. But they're really going to the ball, both teams defensively. And that's what's making it such a hard-fought football game.
Well, many people had predicted that it would be a very hard-fought, close football game, and that's what we've witnessed so far.
There have been very few Western finals that haven't been hard.
Intended for Strong, incomplete. He continues on with the ball, but it's ruled an incomplete pass.
Well, you know where that Strong got his name. People just careen off of him.
5'9", 188 pounds.
You know, with 59,000 people in attendance here this afternoon, 54,000 at CNE Stadium in Toronto, not a bad day for the Canadian Football League at the box office.
Great day. That's great to see.
I don't see how you can see 2 better football games.
Winner of this one will, of course, face the Toronto Argonauts 1 week from today in Grey Cup 83. Third down kick by Bisaglia, fielded by Bennett at the 34. Bennett is taken out of bounds at the 43 by Nelson Martin. I mentioned earlier that Coach Cal Murphy brought his troops to Vancouver on Thursday to get them acclimatized to the stadium. Paul Bennett was telling me that there are some problems with the lights overhead coming right down into your eyes at times as you field the punts.
You see Bennett raise that forearm under Martin's chin that time. You get too close to that Bennett, you're going to get hit.
course, in most parks, players are accustomed to having those lights shining from the side. Here, there are some lights overhead. James Sykes finds a good hole. Still on his feet. Across midfield to the 54.
Boy, he's hard to describe when he runs with the football. As you said before, it looks like he's not going anyplace. But he's got such great balance. And he just breaks tackles and gets himself into the open somehow, some way.
The injured ball player is Brent Brissett. He ran into one of his own men, Rick Klassen. And now, Leo, while we have a moment, you do your thing.
Well, let me just say that this program is copyright and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or exhibition in whole or in part without the express written consent of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation is strictly prohibited.
Think Brent Brissett cares about that?
All Brent Brissett cares about right now is getting back in that ball game.
He'll be back, but for the moment, Ron Cherkas will be taking his spot.
Must be kind of satisfying for Cal Murphy to have Clements go down and have Huffnagel go in and throw that long strike for a touchdown. That takes a lot of pressure off the coach. Unfortunately for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the Lions came right back with another one.
James Sykes with that gallop to the 54 has now carried the ball 10 times for 61 yards. Not a bad average. He'll get it again. John Huffnagel came up to try and throw a block as Sykes spun away from Mac Moore and then was dropped by Kevin Konar. It will be 2nd and 10. Actually, Sykes may have picked up about half a yard. At the Winnipeg bench, Coach Bob Spaziano explaining to Tyrone Jones some of the defensive maneuvers they want him to perform the next time that Winnipeg defensive unit is out there. Sykes to the sidelines for Rick House. He goes out of bounds. He'll be short of the first down, however. Stopped at the 49. 4:39 is the time left to play in this third quarter. 21-18. Winnipeg leads. Tom Clements started the ball game. He was injured late in the second quarter. John Huffnagel took over. He threw an early interception, but in the third quarter came back with a big touchdown strike to Rick House. Two fine punters, Bob Cameron and Lou Pasaglia, enjoying the benefits of kicking here under the dome. Crawford backs up to his goal line. And he is stopped at the 6-yard line by John Bont.
Don, we're back to that field possession game again. Field position. You strike from your 6-yard line, you better move it out of there. You've got to get a couple first downs and then kick it. You don't want to give the Bombers too good a field position. It's tough to start when you're huddling in the end zone.
4 turnovers in that first half really hurt the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Of course, the Lions have the top defensive club in the CFL. They led the league in interceptions, establishing a record this year with 42, and JoJo Heath has picked off 2 in this game. The Wolf throwing deep for Mervyn Fernandez. He's got it.
See, that's why I say that throwing to Fernandez deep is not a bad idea in spite of deep coverage. Because he goes down and, he throws the ball right here, and they're running step for step, and that defensive back's got to turn his back. Fernandez looks back to the ball run and goes and gets it.
They had the ideal coverage. They were in a zone defense. Fernandez just out-jumped them for the ball. That's great individual effort.
Fernandez continuing to plague the Bombers as he did in 2 regular season games. Another mix-up. A broken play. The ball fumbled. Winnipeg got it. I believe that was John Pointer who came up with the ball. John Sturdivant was also there. Another broken play, and that's twice in this quarter.
I think it's the same
that the
play.
Lions have been guilty of that miscue.
I think it's the same play, the draw play, and he either turned the wrong way or Strong ran the wrong way, and there was nobody to hand the ball to, and he turned around in complete confusion, got the ball knocked out of his hands, and what a break that is for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Well, John Pointer would like to appear in his third straight ball game with his third different team. Third straight Grey Cup game it could be for John Pointer. He was with Edmonton. He was with Toronto. Sideline pattern, Hucklack out of bounds at the midfield stride. John Pointer.
Edmonton, Toronto, and now Winnipeg. He wants to hit them all.
That would be a rather unique accomplishment to play in 3 consecutive Grey Cup games with 3 different teams. Of course, he hasn't been on winning teams on his 2 previous Grey Cup visits.
Vanderbilt University, a very scholastically inclined school, and John Pointer apparently was a pretty good student.
On second down, John Hufnagel still on his feet. He's going to try and run it. He's bounced out of bounds. Well short of a first down. He was looking downfield for James Murphy, but Murphy was well covered, and at that Winnipeg bench, Reuben Vaughn was exchanging words with several members of the Bombers. Now, watch this as one of the players comes in and decks a member of the Winnipeg coaching staff.
That was Reuben Vaughn.
And it's rough play being charged against the BC Lions, Reuben Vaughn.
You know, Reuben should have been satisfied to go in there and just knock down 2 coaches and about 3 players on the sidelines, but he got up and wanted to fight with everybody. That's a good way to get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Major foul. Unnecessary roughness. BC 79. First down.
Well, that could be a costly penalty for the Lions.
Well, we're going to get a look at it, Leo. Watch this.
Oh, boy, that's smart.
Bob Vesveziani, the assistant coach, is the man who got decked at that Winnipeg bench. You'll probably feel it's all worth it, however, as Vaughn incurred a roughing penalty, taking a swipe at a Winnipeg player on the sidelines after that collision. Handoff to James Sykes. Good hole. Sykes is having a great game. He's to the 30-yard line, and he will certainly merit some consideration for our Carling O'Keefe's Offensive Game Star Award. That's a pickup of almost 11.
I would
Just start all that motion.
Right. Go ahead. Finish what you're going to say, Ron.
You start all that in motion, and those linebackers start looking around, and they can't step up in there quick enough, and the linemen are getting to them and opening those holes for Sykes.
I was just saying, looking at Vespiani over there on the sidelines, after he got rolled, he thought of about 4 excuses to go all the way over to the bench and start coaching those players sitting on the bench until that action got away from him.
Willard Reeves was also on those sidelines, and of course he's their outstanding rookie, Shenley nominee. Sidelined for the final 3 games of the season because of a knee injury, but he is providing vocal support. 72 yards rushing for James Sykes now. Winnipeg first and 10 from the 31-yard line. Sykes gets it again. James Sykes with another 10-yard run.
He is a slasher.
Lyle Bauer threw a key block to open a hole for James Sykes. He had 124 yards last Sunday against the Edmonton Eskimos. He's now got 82 yards this afternoon.
Well, if you can get a guy to come through, watch Moores come out on the outside. I don't know if you see his block, but he got a key block right there. But watch him turn sideways now and then go back against the grain, against the pursuit. When you get a guy that has that instinct to run against the pursuit, he'll make a lot of yardage. George Dixon was a great running back over in Montreal, a Shenley Award winner, and he can do that about as well as anybody.
Hufnagel again coming over to the bench to confer with Coach Cal Murphy. One of the things that Winnipeg General Manager Paul Robson has done this year is add people to the roster when the Bombers have had starters go down as the result of injury, and the addition of James Sykes may prove to be one of the most valuable he has made all season.
I think that Paul Ross has done an outstanding job in his first year as a general manager. I think that entire Winnipeg organization has a lot to be proud of. They've had a lot of adversity, and I tell you what, they've done a heck of a job.
You know what makes them so good? It's because nobody wants to run the whole show. They all want to do their own jobs, cooperate in their own areas, and they're all very good friends. They respect each other.
Isn't that called teamwork?
That sure is, right from the top. And boy, it shows with the team and the players, everybody else concerned.
Well, Sykes got a 9-yard gain on that. The measurement revealed that he was just a little short. Crawford, the injured ball player, and on second and short, John Huffnagel kept it and dove to the 20-yard line. But Ron, as you have pointed out in previous telecasts, I think every time John Huffnagel carries that ball in the sneak, Cal Murphy cringes just a little.
Well, I know John's not the greatest sneaker in the world, but Cal Murphy got a lot of confidence. John will get the job done. That's all we know. He comes off that bench and plays well, and I know nobody's more happy to be in this game than he is.
He just doesn't get down low enough when he's on that
He's all
quarterback
legs. He's all legs.
He and Tommy Clements get along very well. They were sitting watching film the other day. We stopped in on him.
From the 20, first and 10, Winnipeg. Huffnagel having difficulty finding a receiver. Hit the kickoff. Melvin Bird intercepts at the 14-yard line. Huffnagel should never have thrown that one.
And who forced that play? Number 37. Mr. Jackson went in there and made the big play, caused the ball to be thrown poorly, and just stood there and saluted the entire audience because he's so glad to be in that football game. Watching here, number 37, been a great one.
You stop that arm from coming forward, you see the result. That ball went end over end. He shouldn't have thrown that football, but that's Glenn Jackson getting into this game. That's what he means to the BC Lions. He's made 2 real big plays today.
That's the 5th turnover that the Lions have forced in this ball game. Winnipeg leading 21-18.
That's a big one right there because Winnipeg had a chance really to take over the game to some extent on that drive.
Aaron Brown almost picked off the pass intended for John Pankratz with just 7 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. You know, you talk about our Carling O'Keefe Game Star Awards. Aaron Brown is a candidate for that defensive honor.
Sure is.
So is JoJo Heath of the BC Lions.
Boy, look at Aaron Brown. He picks that off. He walks into the end zone. It would be no contest.
Aaron Brown earlier had an interception that set up a Winnipeg touchdown. That was in the 1st quarter. It's 2nd and 10. This should be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Draw play was strong, trying to get outside, and he's to the 22.
Well, at least they made the handoff this time.
And that is the end of the 3rd quarter. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers lead 21-18, and we'll be back right after this. Well, we're 15 minutes away from declaring a Western champion and opponent for the Toronto Argonauts next Sunday in Grey Cup 83, produced by CBC Television. And, of course, you'll see all the other excitement of Grey Cup week. The Shenley Awards on Thursday, the Grey Cup Parade, and our pregame show, The Thrill of It All. Somewhat ironic that they've talked so much about this game being played under ideal weather conditions. It's a beautiful day outside today in Vancouver. The sun was shining brightly. It was about 10 degrees when we came into the stadium.
But it's awful, awful wet outside, I'll tell you. They've had a lot of rain.
Kick by Pasaglia. Bennett retreats to his own 30-yard line. Penalty flag on the play as Bennett goes down at the 42. Stopped by Gerald Roper.
I believe we're going to get Scott Flagel on an illegal block.
That is the call as illustrated by referee Bud Ulrich. A 59-yard kick by Lou Pasaglia. He and his counterpart with the Blue Bombers, Bob Cameron, are certainly putting on a display here in the Dome.
I think it'd be a fair assumption to say that anyone that wins this ball game will probably be limping off the field because it's really getting tough, and nothing's going to be easy in this 4th quarter.
You can see right there, number 31, Kevin Pomar, was hit in the back by Scott Flagel. That was the call.
Winnipeg, 1st and 10. They're at their own 27-yard line. Neither side has been able to take control of this ball game. James Sykes, what a job he is doing running for Winnipeg.
I'll tell you one thing, he's trying to take personal control. Well, I'll tell you what, when you get into big football games, you got to have the veterans. The veterans win for you, and Sykes has been through all this before.
5'11", 185-pound James Sykes out of Rice via Washington and the Calgary Stampeders, recruited by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers for their final regular season game against the Toronto Argonauts. You may recall seeing that game on CBC television. During the course of that game, Sykes was a little tentative, but he certainly has not been in the playoffs.
Well, you can't sit out. Football's a contact game. You've got to play week in, week out in order to keep your timing and being ready to be hit. And a running back's no different than anybody else. He's got to get hit to feel good. And I'll tell you one thing, he got used to it in a hurry because the last 2 weeks he's been something.
Sykes now has 91 yards, just shy of a first down on that last carry at 2nd and inches. Hufnagel keeps it again, and he has the first down.
He's going to like that for long. He's going to enjoy doing that.
Well, in case you joined us late, Tom Clements started the ball game for Winnipeg. He suffered a bruised shoulder late in the second quarter. He has not played since then.
Now, just sitting here thinking, Hufnagel's doing a good job. There's no question about that. But he doesn't have that dimension that Clements has to run with the football. And when you've got the outside receivers they have and the inside receivers and that's Sykes in the backfield, that's a pretty potent offense.
Sykes again, penalty flag on the play. But I think it will be called back.
Illegal procedure. They have no end, I don't believe, and everybody in motion and nobody ever got up on the line of scrimmage over here.
Good call, Ron. Cal Murphy is upset.
Well, we talked about that before. All of the motion that's happening with a lot of Canadian Football League teams right now, the guy that comes up in the slot more than often is making the play illegal by not showing somebody who the outside man is on the line of scrimmage.
Procedure, Winnipeg, no end, first down repeated.
Neither one were up there.
On that situation, you're right, Ron. They didn't get up there on the outside that time.
I was watching them come over, and they were really trying to hustle to get there. But with this crowd, you don't hear the cadence real well, so you got to really hustle.
That wiped out. A 25-yard gallop by James Sykes. 13-14, the time left in the ball game. 1st and 15, Winnipeg. Sideline pattern for Hucklack. He's unable to hang on. It will be 2nd and 15 from the 33.
You know, Leo, you were talking about Hufnagel not being able to run. Hufnagel can run with the football, but he can't scramble around and buy time like Clements does.
Hufnagel tried to take that one low, but the ball went between his legs.
Almost caught it with his heels.
Will they go after Hufnagel on 2nd and 15? McMurray tried to get through. Hufnagel throwing it, intended for Boyd, knocked away by JoJo Heath. Almost intercepted.
Excellent defense by JoJo Heath. He read that quarterback, and he went after the ball. Watch him come, number 26. He's had an awfully good day playing football back there on that corner.
So now the Winnipeg Blue Bombers require a big one out of their kicking specialist, Bob Cameron, with 12:40 remaining in the ball game. Winnipeg clinging to a 21-18 lead. JoJo Heath is stopped at the 45. Scott Flagel was downfield to make the tackle. The Lions will be scrimmaging 1st and 10 from their 45 when we return.
On CBC television has it all. We begin with the first-time coast-to-coast coverage of the Schenley Awards on Thursday. Then Saturday, the color and the excitement on sports weekend of the Grey Cup Parade. Sunday at 4 Eastern, we begin 5 hours of game day coverage. The thrill of it all, a Grey Cup preview show, and then the game itself. Be with us on CBC television.
Red Strong has a gaping hole. John Sturdivant made the tackle at the 45.
saw John Henry White go in motion to that side of the field, and he got completely outside. He outflanked him. Look at the block. He's outside. He's in a position to lead him right down the field. Excellent call. Excellent execution.
Strong looks like he said, give me that ball. I don't want that Sykes to look any better than me today.
A 20-yard run for Ray Strong. 1st and 10. The Lions at the Winnipeg 45. They trail by 3. Quickly in for John Henry White. Tackled by Vernon Paul at the 26.
Don, he came in motion. The last time they ran the football, there's a big hole in there. This time, Huffnagel just raised up and dumped it to him.
18 yards the gain for John Henry White.
Watch the wall. Watch it. Look at the hole. Just raised up and dumped the ball to John Henry and let him run.
Well, that linebacker can't be right. He's up there trying to force on the run and then get back there on the pass. And that time he just stood up on the line of scrimmage. They hit him right down the seam.
1st and 10 from the 27-yard line. DeWalt for Fernandez. He'll score. So for the first time since early in the ball game, the British Columbia Lions have the lead with 10:58 remaining. We'll be back with the BC kickoff after this.
You'll see Fernandez now. It's supposed to be a little bit of a play action. He comes across the middle, catches the ball, and Paul Bennett has overcommitted to the inside, trying to make the play, and he just stepped inside of Paul, found the opening, and took it right all the way in for the score. Just a great execution, Ron.
So the Lions now lead by 4 as Bisaglia kicks off to Kirby Wilson. He's brought down at the 27-yard line. Mervyn Fernandez with 2 big touchdowns. We recall a game earlier in the year against the Montreal Concord where he scored 3 touchdowns without ever being touched. On neither of his 2 touchdowns this afternoon did the Winnipeg defenders lay a hand on him.
Well, what happens here? He runs a curl pattern, and he's smart enough to stay away from the safety, and Paul Bennett comes to make the play, and he catches it and ducks inside of him. That's a great effort by Fernandez.
He's just got that great move that when Paul was coming across helter-skelter to try to get into the play, he just ducked right inside of him. Nobody's going to catch him when he does that.
And he's a definite candidate for our Carling O'Keefe Offensive Game Star Award. That's the injured Vernon Paul. As Crazy George has the fans at the stadium at BC Place standing up in sections, a domino of